Impact segment tonight, as you may have heard, some far-left loons define the Fox News channel as a network in business to promote the Republican Party. That, of course, is nonsense. Listen to Fox News analyst Mara Liasson yesterday.
She was an incredibly effective majority leader when, and speaker when there was an opposition president. She's kind of like Winston Churchill. I mean, she accomplished historic things for the Democrats, and they should be sending her off in a blaze of glory and adjusting for this new regime.
All right, so he's talking about Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. He's kind of like Winston Churchill. Ms. Liasson was unavailable to speak with us tonight, and Mr. Churchill is deceased. But joining us now from Washington, her colleagues Mary Catherine Ham and Juan Williams, both are Fox News analysts. All right, so Ms. Liasson, who I don't know very well, but I know a little bit, is apparently hiding somewhere in the Washington bureau, Juan. And so what do you think she meant by that?
Well, I mean, you know, it's a really thin analogy to me, but I guess what she's saying is that Churchill was, you know, willing to stand up against a powerful opposition, Germany, as they took over France, as they took over much of Western Europe. There was Churchill organizing opposition, and the analogy would be there's Pelosi keeping the liberal Democrats in the House of Representatives together for votes on stimulus, health care reform, financial reform, despite this wave of Republican, you know, coming to Washington in last Tuesday's election.
Okay. No idea. Nice try, Juan. All right, so she issued a statement, Mary Catherine, to the Factor, quote, this is Mara Liasson, I used an imperfect analogy while trying to explain what I meant. I think Pelosi has done a good job throughout her term, was very successful. I guess, you know, successful in getting the health care passed and all of that. I guess that's what she means, but certainly not successful to the American people. And I think, you know, Winston Churchill, when you evoke the man's name, obviously saved Great Britain and probably the world from the horrors of Nazism. And, you know, you're sitting there going, Mara, you know, what are you talking about?
Well, I've watched Mara for years on the panels on Fox and enjoy her very much. I doubt she actually thinks there's a lot of similarities between Pelosi and Churchill. It might have just been a historical metaphor you're reaching for. I think, you know, obviously a lot of Pelosi's victories, such that they were more Pyrrhic than Churchillian. She lost a huge majority and swung the pendulum way to the right as far as the House majority goes. So I don't think those were big victories, and the American people don't see those as victories for the American people. And if they ever do, it will be many, many decades from now,
I think
heaven forbid.
Ms. Liasson is probably the only one on earth who sees the parallel between Nancy Pelosi and Winston Churchill. But there is actually, historically, there is some similarity in the sense that both of them lost in the end. I don't know if this is
and what Democrats better hope is that Pelosi's in the wilderness stage of Churchill's political rise, where maybe she'll just stay. Yeah, that would be best for them, probably.
But here's why I'm using this, Juan. I'm not trying to beat up Mara Liasson. I'm not. But you know, when you hear the propaganda of Fox News networks and the tank for the Republicans and with GOP all the time, and then you have somebody like Liasson, who's a pretty big platform on this network, say that, which I know most conservatives are going, that is absolutely insane. You know, we foster that kind of a discussion here, and we do it all the time, unlike our competition.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, you often say to me, where am I wrong? Tell me where I'm wrong. I often think, you know, I don't think people in making a judgment about Fox or Bill O'Reilly think, oh yeah, they're open to debate and discussion, but in fact, I think this network's more open to debate and discussion than some of the other networks.
All of the other networks, not some of them.
I don't get all of them. I mean, I think the myth is that somehow Fox is, you know, orthodox and it's just Republican. But the fact is, look, clearly the Fox News channel is more conservative, I'll say that. But nobody tells me what to say. I'm allowed to ask questions, to respond to questions honestly, and I value it as a forum. People say, well, what about Beck? What about Hannity? They're far right. I say, you know what? That's not the entirety of Fox.
No,
but,
I mean, if you look at the commentators, we try to sprinkle them. Yeah, we try to sprinkle them panels with all kinds of points of view. Go ahead, Mary Catherine.
Well, if you look at the election night coverage, which was the biggest night of coverage for any of the cable networks or the broadcast networks, both most of the TV reviewers agree, if you just look at the numbers of panelists, that if you wanted to see two sides of an argument, you could go to Fox. You could not go to MSNBC.
Not the guy at the Washington Post who we hammered last week. He said there was only one Democrat on.
But there were
he still has his job.
He was totally wrong. He didn't mention any of the other folks like Beckel or Juan or any of the folks on. And I think the ratings show this. I believe Fox beat beat the broadcast, and
we
that's
did. We
that's
beat
the bottom
everybody,
line.
but you didn't see a lot of that publicity written about it either. Okay,
Well,
why?
now people know.
In the beginning of the program, I am starting to get even more worried. That's the word, worried, for the country, because I don't know who Barack Obama is. Simply don't know who he is. And believe me, I have researched him and paid attention and read his speeches and interviewed him myself and looked him in the eye, and I don't know who the hell he is. Should I be worried?
I don't think you should be worried. I mean, I think that he is really a brilliant guy. I think Brit Hume earlier was describing him as someone who is very likable in personality. But when it comes to hot-button issues, when it comes to revealing yourself and taking a risk in doing it, that's where you don't see him. He's the kind of guy also, Bill, who I think is the common wisdom in Washington is he'll let the bus run over you. If you're not valuable to him, if he doesn't see some purpose in having you around or what you have to say, you're a goner. And I think you see that all around him. So in that sense, you might have to question his loyalty. But, in terms of the general stuff, love of America, I don't think there's any question that he loves America.
No, but I don't know.
I
don't know what America he loves. Whether it's his vision of America he loves or the tradition that we have, I just don't know. Are you worried like I am, Mary Catherine, that I just can't get a handle on him as far as where he is?
I'm not worried so much about knowing him as a person and seeing his personality come out too much. I'm worried about where he stands on things like being able to answer a question about jihad, which is a present danger to our country. So that part worries me. The sort of dancing around that question, I think, is silly and does not really serve the purpose of his mission.
All right.
Yeah,
so,
Juan and Mary Catherine, everyone.
He finds it.
I got to go, Juan. You know
care.
this isn't a telethon, man. You know we have, you guys get 6 minutes and then your history. I'm like...